Welcome, traveler of the mind, to daily Dharma listening. Here, we do not shout wisdom from mountaintops. We whisper it into the quiet corners of the heart. In a world awash with noise, you have arrived at a place where silence speaks. A place where ancient rivers of truth continue to flow beneath the surface of our digital age. Settle in. Let the pace of your breath slow. Let the mind begin to unfurl like a lotus touched by the morning sun. Before we begin, remember this: if the words you hear awaken something within, share them. If the silence between the words stirs something deeper, return again. Subscribe to this space, not just on your screen, but within your heart. Like, comment, and offer the ripple outward. You never know who needs it. Now, let us begin where all things begin, not with answers, but with questions. What does it mean to live well? In the cold flicker of our screens, in the hurried rush of schedules and deadlines, where is peace hiding? We ask ourselves silently, how to stay calm and positive when the world seems aflame with fear and unrest? How do we protect our energy when everything seems to be pulling it apart? The Buddha did not live among skyscrapers or traffic lights. Yet his wisdom cuts through time like a wind through dry leaves. Buddhist teachings were born in a forest, quiet, vast, and eternal. And though the world has changed its shape, the mind remains the same, restless, seeking, fragile, and powerful. The first lesson of this journey is not about escape. It is not about fleeing to a mountaintop or retreating into silence forever. It is about planting a seed, one so small, it feels invisible. But this is no ordinary seed. This is the silent seed of awareness. When you wake in the morning and your hand reaches for the phone before your breath has even settled, pause. There, in that pause, you are already on the path. Before the scroll, before the headlines, before the dopamine-drenched flashes of entertainment and distraction, place your awareness on your breath. Just one inhale. One exhale. This is not superstition. It is not ritual. It is a reclamation of your own mind. In that single breath, you begin to transform your mind, not with force, but with attention. The Buddha taught, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become. In this, we discover the first treasure hidden in plain sight. Thought is not a prison, it is a garden. And if you plant weeds, weeds you shall harvest. But if you plant compassion, presence, clarity, these will bloom. But modern life rarely gives us time to tend this garden. We rush. We multitask. We worry. We carry the weight of unseen burdens. And yet, the Dharma asks gently, who are you when you stop running? In that stillness, even for 5 minutes each morning, the silent seed begins to sprout. To those new to this path, to those curious about Buddhism for beginners, know this: there are no gates, no passwords, no robes required. There is only presence. And presence begins with noticing. Noticing the tension in your jaw when you read the news. Noticing the clench of your fists when you feel misunderstood. Noticing the fog of fear that wraps itself around your spine in moments of uncertainty. These are not enemies. They are messengers. Buddhist wisdom does not shame your anxiety. It holds it like a trembling bird in cupped hands. It says, you are not broken. You are becoming. And so we walk slowly. With each step, we turn inward, not to escape the world, but to meet it more fully. To meet it without fear. To live without fear is not to eliminate danger, it is to stop feeding it with your imagination. Fear thrives on the unknown. The Dharma thrives on attention. When we bring the light of mindfulness to our fears, they begin to lose their shape. They shrink, not because they vanish, but because we stop feeding them the feast of our energy. Do you remember the first time you felt truly safe? Maybe it was in the arms of a parent. Or in the quiet hush of a childhood night. That stillness is still available. But now, you must offer it to yourself. You must become the calm within your own storm. The eye within the hurricane. The silence beneath the waves. In ancient sutras, it is said that the mind is like a monkey, wild, leaping from branch to branch. And truly, in this digital age, our monkey mind has been fed caffeine and given a smartphone. But you are not the monkey. You are the tree. The witness. The deep, grounded presence that does not move even as chaos swirls. How do you find peace in chaos? You stop trying to control the storm. You sit in the center of it. You breathe. And slowly, you realize, the storm was not outside of you. It was within. And it passes. A woman once asked the Buddha, "How can I protect my energy from those who seek to harm or drain me?" The Buddha smiled gently and said, "You can no more control the wind than the speech of others. But you can close your doors when needed. You can rest in the shelter of your own mind." We live in a time of constant exposure, opinions, images, demands, judgments. To protect your energy today is an act of radical compassion. It does not mean isolation. It means discernment. You do not need to attend every argument you're invited to. You do not need to pick up every burden handed to you. You are allowed to pause. To say no. To breathe. This is not selfish. It is sacred. So many of us feel lost. We chase goals not our own. We live stories written by others. But Buddhist reminders, when you feel lost, do not say, "Hurry to find your path." They say, "Stop. Sit. The path is beneath your feet. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are here. And here is enough." Every morning, when you rise, you have the choice to begin again. That is the grace of this path. The silent seed, once planted, needs no perfect soil, no constant sun. It only needs you to remember. To return. Again and again. The Buddha's life was not a fairy tale. He left luxury. Faced doubt. Sat beneath a tree with no certainty of what would come. And yet, he stayed. Still. Patient. Present. In that stillness, wisdom arose. You too have your Bodhi tree. It may be your kitchen table. Your bedroom floor. The corner of a crowded train where you find one breath of calm. Wherever you meet yourself, that is sacred ground. Do not wait for the world to become peaceful. Begin within. In this first part of our journey, I offer you this simple practice. Each morning, before the rush begins, place one hand on your heart. Close your eyes. Breathe. Say silently, "I return to myself. I return to this breath. I return to this moment." That is enough. This is where the silent seed takes root. And from here, everything begins. Let us walk gently, together. And if these words find a home within you, let them echo outward. Like the ripples of a stone cast into still water. Share this space. Invite others to listen. subscribe not only with your finger, but with your attention. Like, so that the algorithm of the world knows we value silence. Comment, not to be heard, but to join a circle of seekers who walk this same quiet path. This is daily Dharma listening. And this is only the beginning. Part 2, The River Beneath the Noise. In the stillness of early dawn, when the world is not yet awake and the city hums in distant whispers, there is a quiet invitation extended to the soul. It is not loud, nor does it demand. It is the hush of a forgotten rhythm, calling us back, not to something new, but to something ancient that lives deep beneath the surface. In that gentle silence, before the day claims you, there flows a river beneath the noise, always present, always pure. To understand this river is to understand the essence of Buddhist teachings. They do not shout for attention, nor do they parade themselves in bright colors. They are not doctrines clutched by trembling hands. They are reflections in still water. The Dharma, in its truest form, reveals itself when we no longer seek to control the world, but to observe the self. When we are no longer imprisoned by our reactions, but freed by our awareness. There is a passage in the Dhammapada which whispers, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." And yet, how often do we speak the 1,000 hollow words? How often do we fill space to avoid the discomfort of silence, not realizing that silence is the gateway to transformation? In the rush of our modern lives, deadlines, social feeds, expectations, the river beneath us is almost forgotten. But just because we do not feel it does not mean it is not flowing. Like the roots of a tree that drink unseen, our spirit is nourished by depths we often ignore. You may wonder how to stay calm and positive when the world around you churns with chaos. How to protect your energy when so much demands your attention. How to live without fear in a world that trades in it like currency. The teachings of the Buddha are not escape routes, they are anchors. Anxiety arises when we grasp at the future. Depression when we clutch the past. But life, the real, pulsing, unrepeatable life, is always unfolding now. In the breath. In the blink. In the step. The path is not away from this moment. The path is through it. When the Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree, he did not banish the world. He met it. Fully. Without flinching. Mara, the tempter of distraction and illusion, appeared with armies of fear, desire, and doubt. And yet, the Buddha did not fight. He simply touched the earth. A gesture of grounding. Of return. A declaration that presence itself is the greatest protection. This is what Buddhist wisdom teaches us, not to run, but to return. To transform your mind not by denial, but by attention. You are not required to be perfect. You are only invited to be present. A man once asked the Buddha, "Master, what have you gained through meditation?" And the Buddha replied, "Nothing." The man, confused, pressed further. And the Buddha smiled, "However, let me tell you what I have lost: anger, anxiety, depression, insecurity, fear of old age and death. This is the alchemy of presence. It does not add. It subtracts. It strips away illusion until only truth remains. But such clarity does not arrive in a lightning strike. It unfolds like dew, one breath at a time. Begin where you are. Perhaps today, the chaos is loud. Perhaps your heart feels heavy with the invisible weight of expectation. Perhaps you feel lost, wandering through roles and identities that no longer fit. In these moments, Buddhist reminders when you feel lost are not complicated mantras. They are simple truths. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the awareness beneath them. The river beneath the noise. You are allowed to pause. To close your eyes. To return. Let us imagine a moment together. You sit in a crowded subway. The air is thick with noise, conversations, screeching brakes, announcements blaring. But then, you place your attention on the breath. The rise. The fall. Inhale. Exhale. Suddenly, though the noise remains, you are no longer consumed by it. You are a witness. Not a prisoner. This is how you begin to find peace in chaos. Not by changing the world, but by changing your relationship to it. This is not a fantasy. It is a discipline. A practice. And Buddhist teachings are not reserved for monasteries or mountain retreats. They belong in kitchens, offices, classrooms, hospital rooms. They belong in the messiness of everyday life. Because suffering does not wait for the perfect moment to arrive. And so neither does the Dharma. Live without fear, not because you are invincible, but because fear is a story, not a truth. It is a projection of what may be, not what is. The mind, untamed, is a theater of imaginary catastrophes. But the mind, watched with care, becomes a still lake. And in that stillness, we see clearly. A woman tending to her ailing mother once shared, "Every day I wake up afraid. Afraid I'm not enough. Afraid I'll fail her. But then I sit for 5 minutes, watching my breath. And I realize, in that breath, I am enough. I don't need to be perfect. I only need to be present." This is the power of Buddhist lessons for anxiety. They do not remove the storm. They teach you how to be the I within it. The truth is, the mind will wander. The heart will ache. Doubt will visit. But in each return to the present moment, you water the roots of wisdom. And over time, what was once a whisper becomes a guiding voice. Do not underestimate small steps. The path to awakening is not paved with fireworks. It is carved with quiet choices. One breath. One pause. One compassionate thought. And perhaps, most importantly, one letting go. Let go of needing to be right. Let go of needing to be liked. Let go of needing to have it all figured out. These are burdens, not badges. You are not here to perform. You are here to wake up. To protect your energy is to honor your time, your breath, your space. It is to say no without guilt. To rest without shame. To feel without judgment. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. So when you feel overwhelmed, by the world, by yourself, by the ceaseless demands of becoming, stop. Sit. Breathe. And listen for the river beneath the noise. It will remind you, you are not alone. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are unfolding. You are enough. And you are on the path, not tomorrow, not when things are perfect, but now. Stay with the breath. Stay with the moment. Stay with the self. The river flows still. And it is waiting for you. Part 3, The Weight of a Single Thought. There is a silence that does not come from the absence of sound, but from the presence of clarity. It is the silence of a monk walking through a bamboo grove, his robes brushing softly against the morning mist. It is the silence that descends not upon the mountains, but upon the mind when it ceases to argue with itself. In this silence, we begin to understand the immeasurable weight of a single thought. A single thought can build a kingdom or burn it to ash. It can cradle a child in warmth or hurl coldness across a dinner table. A single thought, unnoticed, can shape a life in directions the heart never agreed to. And yet, most people live without ever seeing their thoughts clearly. They chase them, fight them, drown in them, but they do not observe. This is where Buddhist teachings offer their first and perhaps most vital gift, awareness. The Buddha did not ask us to be saints. He asked us to be aware. To look at the mind not with judgment, but with curiosity. The mind, he said, is like a painter. And every thought is a brushstroke. With enough unconscious strokes, we end up with a canvas that no longer resembles the life we intended to live. So ask yourself, what are the thoughts you feed each day? What patterns of fear, resentment, self-doubt, or craving do you paint, again and again? If the mind is the canvas and your awareness is the light, then only when you bring light to it can you begin to repaint your life with truth. This is not philosophy for the elite. This is Buddhism for beginners, for wanderers, for seekers who feel the ache of something missing but cannot name it. It is not about transcending life, but entering it more deeply, with presence instead of projection. You may carry a thought that you are not good enough. Perhaps it was handed to you by someone else, a parent, a teacher, a cruel word that echoed too long. Without noticing, you may carry this thought like a stone in your pocket. Every job, every relationship, every dream is filtered through it. And yet, have you ever stopped to hold this thought up to the light? To ask it, softly, who put you here? To breathe into it, and then, perhaps, to let it go? The Buddha once said, with our thoughts, we make the world. This is not metaphor. It is instruction. If you think the world is hostile, you will brace for attack. If you think it is sacred, you will bow before each moment. Thought shapes perception. Perception shapes action. Action shapes destiny. But there is good news. You are not your thoughts. You are the space in which they appear. You are the witness, not the storm. To live without fear does not mean to never feel afraid. It means to see fear for what it is, a temporary wave. And when you realize you are the ocean, not the wave, fear loses its authority. There was once a man who came to the Buddha and said, "Master, I am tormented by my thoughts. They disturb me. I cannot rest." The Buddha looked at him with compassion and said, "Do not push them away. Invite them in. Watch them. Offer them tea." The man was confused. Why would I make friends with what disturbs me? The Buddha smiled. Because when you stop fighting, you start understanding. And once you understand, disturbance becomes a teacher. This is the art of transforming your mind, not by force, but by attention. In the noise of daily life, it's easy to forget this. You rush through your day, reacting instead of responding. You judge yourself harshly, compare endlessly, drown in imagined futures. You wonder how to stay calm and positive when life keeps throwing storms your way. But the teachings were never about controlling the storm. They were about learning how to sail through it with grace. There is a tree in the forest that does not resist the wind. It bends. It yields. And in its flexibility, it survives. The same is true for your heart. The same is true for your mind. You are not weak for feeling lost. Buddhist reminders when you feel lost are like lanterns, soft, steady, placed along a winding path. They do not demand you run. They whisper, slow down. The path is here. In moments of anxiety, you may feel consumed. Your breath may shorten. Your chest may tighten. Your mind may spiral. In these moments, Buddhist lessons for anxiety ask only one thing: return to the breath. Not because the breath solves everything, but because it anchors you in what is real. Fear is often a fiction. But the breath is truth. Try this: the next time your mind races, pause. Place your hand over your heart. Feel the rhythm. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. 3 times. Then ask, what is this thought trying to tell me? Is it truth, or is it habit? Most suffering is not from the event, but from the story we build around it. A missed opportunity becomes a failure. A quiet room becomes loneliness. A mistake becomes shame. But when you remove the story, what remains? Just a moment. And in that moment, you can breathe. You can choose again. Protect your energy. Not by building walls, but by cultivating discernment. You are not required to engage every provocation. You are not obligated to explain your peace to those who thrive in chaos. Peace is not the absence of noise, it is the refusal to be shaken by it. There is a temple in Japan where monks rise before the sun to sweep the garden. Even when there are no leaves. Even when the path is already clear. They sweep, not to clean, but to train the mind. Every sweep is a gesture of devotion. Every stroke a reminder that clarity comes from attention. Your life can be this temple. Every act, no matter how mundane, can become sacred if performed with presence. Washing dishes. Folding laundry. Speaking with kindness. Listening without preparing your reply. These are not interruptions to your path. They are the path. And what of the thoughts that return again and again? The old wounds, the regrets, the inner critic that speaks in your own voice? Do not silence them by force. Meet them like an old friend. Sit with them. Listen. Then, gently, release. It may take 1,000 meetings. 1,000 returns to the breath. But this is the practice. This is the way. You are not late. You are not failing. You are awakening. Slowly. Beautifully. And it begins with the weight of a single thought, seen clearly, held gently, and released like a leaf upon the river. Let the mind become still. Let the breath become deep. Let this moment become enough. And the path will open beneath your feet, as it always has. Part 4, The Art of Not Holding On. In a quiet village long ago, an old monk sat by a river, watching leaves drift along the water's surface. A young traveler approached him, burdened with a heavy pack, sweat lining his brow, dust clinging to every fold of his robe. The monk, without lifting his gaze from the current, spoke softly, "The weight you carry is not only on your back." The traveler hesitated. "It's everything I own. Everything I've gathered." The monk finally looked at him and said, "And everything you refuse to release." This ancient story is not about physical luggage. It is a mirror held up to our inner lives. Because more than the burdens in our hands, we carry those in our minds, memories that haunt us, identities we cling to, emotions we never fully understood. And while the world teaches us to acquire, to grasp, to hold, Buddhist wisdom gently teaches us the opposite, the art of not holding on. In truth, everything you now see, now feel, now believe, is passing. Impermanence is not a curse. It is the first key to freedom. When the Buddha first turned the wheel of Dharma, he taught the Four Noble Truths, not as doctrine, but as medicine. At the heart of these teachings lies a truth we often resist: clinging is the root of suffering. Not life itself, not pain itself, but the refusal to let go. We cling to who we think we should be. We cling to how others should treat us. We cling to outcomes, plans, dreams, people. And when reality diverges from our expectations, we suffer. But what if we could loosen our grip? In modern life, letting go sounds like surrender, like weakness. But in the Dharma, it is strength. It is presence. It is courage. To let go is not to give up. It is to give space. Space for transformation. Space for truth. How many of our anxieties come from our attachments? How much of our exhaustion is from chasing a version of life that no longer fits who we are? We tell ourselves stories: I must succeed. I must be loved. I must always be in control. But these stories, though loud, are not the Dharma. They are echoes of fear dressed as ambition. To truly transform your mind is not to silence desire, but to see through it. To ask, does this serve my peace, or steal it? There's a story in the Buddhist tradition of two monks crossing a river. As they prepared to wade through the water, a young woman stood at the edge, afraid to cross. The older monk lifted her gently onto his back and carried her across. Hours later, the younger monk, visibly disturbed, said, "We monks have taken vows to avoid contact with women. How could you do that?" The elder replied, "I left her by the river. Why are you still carrying her?" This is the teaching: we carry so much we should have already released. Grudges, regrets, guilt. And often, our grip is unconscious. We hold on because it gives us identity. It becomes who we are. I am the one who was betrayed. I am the one who failed. But Buddhism for beginners teaches this simple, powerful truth: you are not your past. You are the awareness that sees it. How to stay calm and positive in a world that constantly stirs the mind? Begin by noticing what you cling to. Begin by asking, what am I afraid to lose? Because beneath all attachment lies fear, fear of emptiness, of insignificance, of pain. But the Dharma does not ask you to ignore fear. It invites you to sit with it, to know it, and in knowing, dissolve it. Live without fear. Not because life won't hurt, but because you no longer build your home in what is fleeting. When you place your peace in what changes, people, status, success, you will always be at the mercy of the world. But when you root your peace in presence, in breath, in awareness, you become unshakable. A person who has learned the art of not holding on walks lightly. They are not indifferent. They love deeply, they care fully, but without grasping. Like hands cupped to hold water, firm enough to hold, soft enough to let it flow. This is not passive living. It is mindful engagement. When you love someone, you do not cage them. When you pursue a goal, you do not chain your worth to its outcome. You do what you can, with all your heart, and then, you release. Find peace in chaos, not by fixing every storm, but by becoming the stillness beneath it. Chaos is not the enemy. It is a teacher. And every time you choose to breathe instead of react, to observe instead of judge, to let go instead of grasp, you take another step toward the freedom the Buddha spoke of. Protect your energy, not by building walls, but by not clinging to what drains you. You do not need to prove your worth to people who cannot see it. You do not need to hold on to conversations that ended long ago. Release the need to explain yourself. Release the need to be understood. In stillness, your truth will speak. There's an ancient practice called walking meditation. The practitioner walks slowly, mindfully, one step at a time, aware of each motion. And in this simple act, the world slows. The mind quiets. The illusion of urgency falls away. This practice teaches us something vital. You do not need to rush to arrive. You are already here. Letting go, too, is a form of walking. Not away, but inward. Not to escape, but to return. To the center of your being. To the breath that is always with you. To the moment that never abandons you. Buddhist lessons for anxiety are not about numbing. They are about seeing clearly. Anxiety arises when the mind is scattered, when it leaps into futures unknown. But the present moment has no fear. It simply is. Return to the breath. It is your refuge. Return to silence. It is your teacher. Return to now. It is your only truth. Even suffering, when held gently, begins to soften. Like a knot that loosens in warm water, your pain can dissolve when no longer resisted. When you stop trying to be okay and simply allow yourself to be, something shifts. And in that space, healing enters. Not holding on does not mean you do not care. It means you care wisely. With balance. With compassion. With presence. It means you let life flow through you, not stick to you. A leaf does not cling to the branch forever. A river does not hoard the rain. The sun does not hold its light. All of nature teaches us this law. Release is part of life. So why do we resist? Because we forget who we are. We believe we are the possessions, the achievements, the titles. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us, you are none of these. You are the sky, not the clouds. You are the awareness, not the thought. And in remembering this, we become free. So today, before the day swallows your stillness, pause. Sit. Breathe. Ask yourself, what am I holding that no longer serves me? A thought? A wound? A version of yourself you've outgrown? Name it. Thank it. And let it go. Let it go with love. Let it go with grace. Not because you're giving up, but because you're making room. Room to breathe. Room to see. Room to be. The art of not holding on is not a destination. It is a path. A practice. A quiet miracle that unfolds, one breath, one step, one letting go at a time. And as you walk it, light returns to your eyes. Softness returns to your voice. And peace, the peace that no one can take, becomes your natural state. The old monk by the river smiles still. And the current flows on. Part 5, Drinking Tea with Impermanence. There is a certain quietness that comes after the storm, not because the wind has ceased, but because something within has finally stopped resisting. It is not the silence of defeat, but the stillness of understanding. And it is within this stillness that the heart begins to hear what the world has always whispered: nothing stays, and nothing is wasted. Impermanence, the breath of all things, is one of the most profound Buddhist teachings, yet one of the hardest to accept. Because while the mind seeks control and certainty, the Dharma walks hand in hand with change. And to walk the path is to walk with change, not against it. Imagine holding a warm cup of tea. You lift it slowly, steam rising like a morning prayer. With the first sip, there is warmth, there is peace, there is presence. But you know, before it reaches your lips, before your hands even touch the porcelain, this tea will not stay warm forever. The taste will fade, the warmth will cool, the cup will empty. And yet, you drink. Not in despair, but in gratitude. This, too, is life. We are taught to fear the end. To fight aging. To dread goodbyes. To avoid the passing of time as if it is a thief. But in Buddhist wisdom, impermanence is not a thief. It is the sacred artist that paints every moment with beauty. Because it will pass, it matters more. Because it won't last, we are called to love it fully. Still, the human heart trembles at the shifting sands. How can one stay calm and positive when everything, people, relationships, careers, even our own bodies, is in a constant state of change? The answer, softly spoken by the Dharma, is presence. Not as an idea. As a practice. Be here. With this breath. With this heartbeat. With this moment. Because it, too, will never come again. There is no need to run toward the future or rewind the past. The only true refuge is now. This is not poetic metaphor. It is lived reality. The present is the only place where we can touch peace. But this peace does not come by accident. It comes when we stop clutching. Let us say it clearly, clinging is suffering. The grasping mind wants things to stay as they are, or become what it imagines. But life does not bend to our plans. And that is not a cruelty, it is a blessing in disguise. Because if everything stayed the same, there would be no room for growth. No opportunity for rebirth. No space for the miracle of transformation. To transform your mind, you must let it soften. Let it see the dance of beginnings and endings, of arrivals and departures, of opening and closing. Nothing in nature resists this flow. Only the human mind, intoxicated by illusion, believes it can build a dam in the river of time. And so, suffering arrives. You may be holding on to a relationship that has changed. A chapter of life that has closed. A version of yourself that no longer fits. And you wonder why the heaviness lingers. Perhaps it is time to sit with impermanence. Not to battle it, but to bow to it. Pour a cup of tea. Drink it slowly. And with each sip, remember, this, too, is passing. And that is okay. The ancients say, this body, too, shall become dust. This face, too, will be forgotten. But the kindness we plant, that, no wind can erase. Find peace in chaos not by stilling the world, but by stilling the mind that demands permanence. Even chaos is impermanent. Even grief has seasons. Even the storm that wrecks the shore eventually folds into the sea. If you listen deeply enough, there is a rhythm behind all things. A silence beneath every sound. A stillness that does not leave, even when everything else does. To live without fear is not to avoid change. It is to embrace it. To see loss not as punishment, but as part of the sacred unfolding. Yes, there is pain. Yes, there is sorrow. But when we stop resisting, the pain becomes purification. The sorrow becomes wisdom. There is a Japanese practice called kintsugi, repairing broken pottery with gold. Instead of hiding the cracks, they are highlighted, honored, gilded. The bowl becomes more beautiful because of its breakage, not despite it. Your heart is the same. What has broken you may also bless you, if you allow the Dharma to guide your healing. Buddhist reminders when you feel lost are not complicated teachings. They are simple truths spoken with great love. Sit down. Breathe. This, too, belongs. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are becoming. To protect your energy in a world addicted to urgency, you must learn to rest in impermanence. Not to become detached or indifferent, but to become wise. When someone leaves, bless them. When something ends, bow to it. When emotions rise, welcome them as guests. And when they go, let them go. This is the art of living fully. To grieve with open arms. To love without chains. To walk through the fire and still whisper, "Thank you." The Buddha once told a story of a woman whose child had died. She came to him, mad with grief, begging for a way to bring her child back. The Buddha, with infinite compassion, told her, "Find a mustard seed from a house untouched by death, and I will help you." She went from house to house. Each one had lost someone. Each one had known pain. And slowly, she understood, her suffering was not punishment, it was shared. It was human. It was part of the great turning. She returned to the Buddha, not with a mustard seed, but with wisdom. And in that wisdom, she found peace. Your life, too, will carry loss. But it will also carry light. And every moment you meet it with presence, you become more free. Buddhist lessons for anxiety teach us to stop rehearsing disaster. To stop imagining the worst before it comes. To be here, with what is real. The future is uncertain, yes. But so is the next breath. And yet, you take it. You trust it. That is faith. That is practice. Begin your day not with fear, but with reverence. Before you rise, place a hand over your chest. Feel the heartbeat. Say silently, "This moment is enough. I do not need to know what comes next. I am here." Live this way, and even in the midst of impermanence, you will know stability. You are not a leaf lost in the wind. You are the sky it floats within. You are not your job, your past, your plans. You are the awareness that holds them all. And when all else falls away, when the cups break, the seasons turn, the faces change, what remains? You. Presence. Breath. Being. This is not poeticism. This is practice. This is the Dharma. And if these words touch something in you, let them ripple outward. Share them not as opinions, but as lanterns. Like, subscribe, and let others find this space. Not for numbers. For Sangha. For the community of quiet seekers walking the same soft path. Let us walk it together. Here, now, with the steam of tea curling into the morning light, and the truth of impermanence resting gently in our hands. Part 6, The Mirror of Suffering. There are moments in life when the weight of sorrow presses so deeply upon the chest that even breath feels borrowed. When the world seems wrapped in gray, and every step forward feels like dragging the past behind. We all arrive here, sooner or later, at this hidden bend in the road called suffering. But what if this, too, is not a punishment, but a path? What if suffering is not an enemy to be slain, but a mirror to be looked into, gently, with the eyes of compassion? The Buddha never promised a life free from pain. He did not preach salvation from discomfort. He sat beneath the Bodhi tree not to escape suffering, but to understand it. And from that understanding, liberation arose. This is not myth. It is method. The Dharma does not ask us to hide our pain, it invites us to meet it fully, without fear, without resistance. Suffering is not a mistake. It is not the opposite of peace. It is a door. And every tear, every ache, every restless night, is a key, if you are willing to turn it. We live in a time where pain is often buried beneath distraction. The moment discomfort arises, we reach for something, a screen, a task, a voice, a substance, anything but stillness. We are taught to numb, not to notice. To run, not to rest. But Buddhist wisdom whispers something radically different: stay. Stay with the sadness. Stay with the loneliness. Stay with the burning in the chest that has no name. Not forever, but just long enough to hear what it's asking. Because suffering is not just noise, it is language. It speaks in silence, in tension, in the heart's unanswered questions. To transform your mind, you must be willing to sit with its shadows. There is a teaching from the Satipatthana Sutta, the foundations of mindfulness, where the Buddha instructs, when experiencing a painful feeling, one knows, I am experiencing a painful feeling. No judgment. No resistance. Just acknowledgement. Just presence. This simple recognition begins to dissolve the grip of suffering. Because what we resist, persists. But what we allow, transforms. In Buddhist teachings, the concept of the second arrow is often shared. The first arrow is the pain, the illness, the insult, the loss. The second arrow is our reaction, the anger, the blame, the story we tell ourselves about why it happened. We may not control the first arrow, but we always hold the bow of the second. Suffering becomes unbearable not because of what happens, but because of what we build around it. To live without fear, you must first stop fearing pain. Because fear of suffering is often more painful than suffering itself. When we fear loss, we become possessive. When we fear death, we forget to live. When we fear imperfection, we bury our authentic selves beneath masks. But when you sit quietly with your pain, truly sit, something unexpected begins to happen. The edges soften. The narratives dissolve. And in that stillness, something deeper than pain emerges: clarity. Suffering is the mirror in which we see what truly matters. It shows us where we are attached, where we are asleep, where we are divided within. And when met with awareness, it becomes the very teacher that points us toward liberation. Buddhism for beginners does not begin with incense and temples. It begins with suffering. It begins when you ask, why does this hurt? And instead of turning away, you listen. You breathe. You stay. The Four Noble Truths, the very heart of the Dharma, are not abstract doctrines. They are invitations. There is suffering. There is a cause of suffering. There is an end to suffering. There is a path that leads to the end. And this path is not hidden. It is beneath your feet. How to stay calm and positive when everything feels broken. Begin by not demanding that life be otherwise. Pain is part of the contract of incarnation. Joy and sorrow are not opposites, they are dance partners. And every emotion, even despair, carries within it the seed of awakening. In the thick of anxiety, when the mind spirals into imagined futures, Buddhist lessons for anxiety teach us to ground in what is real. The breath. The body. The now. Anxiety thrives in abstraction. Mindfulness thrives in sensation. Touch the ground. Feel your feet. Breathe into the belly. And remind yourself, this is a moment. I am not my thoughts. You are not broken because you suffer. You suffer because you care. And caring is not a flaw, it is the path. There's a story of a monk who wept when his cup broke. Another monk laughed and asked, "Why do you cry over a cup? You know it will pass." The monk replied, "Yes. And that is why I cry. Because it was precious. And because it passed. This is not weakness. This is deep understanding. The heart that can feel sorrow is the same heart that can hold compassion. To protect your energy does not mean to close the heart. It means to feel fully without drowning. To love without losing yourself. To witness suffering, your own and others, with eyes wide open and hands steady. When you see someone in pain, do not rush to fix them. Sit beside them. Offer your silence. Offer your presence. In Buddhism, this is called karuna, compassion that holds space. That does not grasp. That does not judge. That simply says, "I see you. I do not turn away." And offer the same to yourself. When the voice in your mind grows sharp, when shame wraps around your shoulders like cold cloth, pause. Place a hand over your heart. Breathe. And speak softly, even this. Even now. I am worthy of love. Because suffering, when met with love, becomes grace. The mirror of suffering shows you not only your wounds, but your strength. The fact that you are still here, still breathing, still seeking, is proof of a deeper resilience. The path of the Buddha is not a straight line. It winds. It dips. It climbs. And at every twist, suffering offers a chance to wake up. Find peace in chaos not by denying the chaos, but by finding the still point within it. Like the center of a spinning wheel, like the eye of the storm. That center is your awareness. It cannot be broken. It does not panic. It only watches. And in that watching, it holds the power to transform. You do not have to wait for peace. It is not somewhere else. It is here. Underneath the layers of thought, the waves of emotion, the habits of reaction, it waits. Like the quiet earth beneath a burning forest. Still. Whole. Unmoving. To transform your mind, you must be willing to step into the fire of your own truth. Not to be consumed, but to be cleansed. Not to escape suffering, but to walk through it and find, on the other side, something deeper than happiness. Something closer to freedom. Let your tears fall, if they must. Let your anger rise, if it needs to. Let your confusion swirl. But do not let go of presence. Stay. Stay with yourself. Because you are not your sorrow. You are not your fear. You are the one who sees. The mirror is not there to shame you. It is there to awaken you. And when the reflection becomes too heavy, return to the breath. The breath is always home. You have not failed because you feel pain. You are not weak because you tremble. You are not lost. You are waking up. Let the mirror of suffering show you who you are, and who you no longer need to be. And from there, begin again. Gently. Silently. Wisely. This is the Dharma. And this is your path. Part 7, The Practice of Returning. In the silence between breaths, in the hush that settles just before sunrise, there is a truth as old as the stars, whispering without words, return. Again and again, return. Not to a temple. Not to a mountain. But to yourself. To this moment. to the very ground beneath your feet. This is the essence of the Dharma, not escape, not transcendence, but a steady and tender practice of returning. The Buddha did not walk through the world as someone above it. He walked as someone deeply within it. With each step, he invited the earth to witness his presence. With each breath, he invited the mind to rest. And so must we. In a time when the world pulls us in every direction, deadlines, desires, distractions, the most radical thing you can do is stop. Breathe. And come back to now. But this coming back is not a one-time event. It is not a revelation that descends in lightning. It is a practice. A rhythm. Like waves to the shore. Like birds to the nest. No matter how far the mind wanders, and it will wander, the practice is to return. To be distracted is not failure. To forget the path is not sin. What matters is the remembering. What matters is the return. Buddhist teachings have never been about perfection. They are about presence. And presence cannot be held. It must be discovered, over and over again. You may sit in meditation, and within seconds, your mind leaps into the past. A conversation, a regret, a wound still unhealed. Or it darts into the future, a plan, a worry, a fear. And you may think, I'm doing it wrong. But this is not wrong. This is the nature of mind. Like a puppy learning to walk, it stumbles, it wanders, it chases shadows. But with gentleness, you guide it back. You return. To the breath. To the body. To the now. There is nothing more sacred than this return. The practice of returning is what allows us to transform our minds. Not through force, not through suppression, but through gentle persistence. Like water shaping stone, not with violence, but with unwavering contact. The breath is our anchor. It is the rope that pulls us from the tide of thinking into the shore of being. Every inhale, every exhale, is a chance to begin again. You might ask, how do I stay calm and positive in a world that feels so fractured, so fast, so overwhelming? The answer is not to chase calm, but to cultivate awareness. Positivity does not mean pretending all is well. It means seeing clearly, and choosing compassion anyway. In Buddhist wisdom, there is a beautiful word, sati. It means mindfulness, but also remembrance. To be mindful is to remember what you already know, that peace is not elsewhere, it is here. That joy is not in some distant future, it is now. That clarity is not a gift granted to the few, but a light within all beings, waiting to be uncovered. We often think of enlightenment as a destination, something far away, something reserved for saints. But the Buddha taught otherwise. Enlightenment is not elsewhere. It is not later. It is the moment the mind returns. Fully. Without clinging. Without fear. Even just for a breath. You are not asked to be perfect. You are asked to return. Again and again. The lotus does not bloom by force. It opens slowly, petal by petal, from the murky depths toward the light. Your awakening is the same. And every moment you choose presence over distraction, awareness over habit, compassion over reaction, you bloom. Sometimes, returning means forgiving. Yourself. Others. Life itself. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is releasing the grip of the story. It is saying, I choose peace over the past. This, too, is a return. Sometimes, returning means grieving. Sitting with the ache, with the absence, with the sharp edges of loss. not to fix them, but to honor them. To say, this pain, too, is part of me. And in that honoring, you soften. And in that softening, you find space. And in that space, you breathe. Sometimes, returning means laughter. Not the laughter that hides hurt, but the laughter that arises from remembering how simple it all really is. That nothing is guaranteed. That we are here, for a moment. That this tea, this rain, this breath, is all we ever had, and it is enough. How do you protect your energy in a world that constantly demands more? By choosing where you place your attention. Attention is the most precious thing you have. It shapes your reality. Where attention goes, life flows. If you give it to noise, you become noise. If you give it to silence, you become still. There is a story of a monk who swept the same courtyard every morning for 40 years. A visitor asked him, "Why do you keep sweeping? It's already clean." The monk smiled and said, "I'm not cleaning the courtyard. I'm cleaning the mind. Every time you return, to breath, to silence, to kindness, you sweep the dust from your mind. You cannot stop the world from moving. But you can stop being moved by every gust of wind. That still point within you, that awareness that sees without grasping, is always available. You do not need to find it. You need only return to it. Even when you feel lost. Especially then. Buddhist reminders when you feel lost are not maps. They are mirrors. They show you not where to go, but who you are. And when you see clearly, you realize, you were never truly lost. Only distracted. Only overwhelmed. Only human. And being human is not the obstacle to awakening, it is the doorway. Anxiety may visit. Doubt may whisper. Fear may knock. Let them come. Let them stay. Let them pass. You are not the visitor. You are the host. You are the one who sees. This seeing is enough. You do not need to fix everything. You do not need to understand everything. You do not need to be everything. You only need to be here. Now. With this breath. This is the practice of returning. It is not glamorous. It is not always peaceful. But it is real. And it is sacred. And with each return, the mind becomes lighter. The heart becomes softer. The path becomes clearer. No step is wasted. No breath is meaningless. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not late. You are here. You are breathing. You are returning. And that is enough. That is more than enough. So walk slowly. Breathe deeply. Speak gently. Love fully. And when you forget, as we all do, simply return. To the path. To the breath. To yourself. This is the way of the Dharma. And you are already walking it. Part 8, The Silence Between Thoughts. There is a kind of silence not born of the absence of noise, but of the presence of knowing. It does not arise when all sound has ceased, but when the mind itself bows down in reverence to something deeper, something unmoving. This silence is not empty. It is full. Alive. Luminous. And it exists, always, in the space between thoughts. To touch this silence is not to escape the world, but to finally see it as it is. Clear. Undistorted. Whole. But the path to that stillness is not paved with effort, nor with striving. It opens when striving ceases. When the mind, exhausted from running, finally settles like a leaf floating to rest on a still pond. This is not theory. It is practice. Buddhist teachings do not demand that we change who we are, but that we see who we are, beneath the noise, beneath the endless river of thought. They teach us that the mind is not the enemy. It is simply untrained. Like a candle flickering in the wind, it needs stillness to shine. But how do we find this stillness, when the modern world never stops speaking? Notifications. News. Opinions. Advertisements. Judgments. Inner chatter. The voice in our heads running commentary on everything, replaying the past, rehearsing the future. We are rarely where we are. We are rarely with what is. The Buddha once said, "A mind untrained is like a monkey, leaping from branch to branch." But the teaching does not end there. Because that same mind, once trained through presence and mindfulness, becomes vast and steady, like the open sky. The silence between thoughts is not far. It is closer than breath. It is not created. It is uncovered. Like the moon behind the clouds, it has always been there. We simply forget to look. To transform your mind is not to suppress thought. It is to observe it. Gently. With the curiosity of a child and the patience of a mountain. When a thought arises, see it. When it passes, let it. Do not follow. Do not push. Just witness. This is the essence of meditation. Not to stop the mind, but to stop being caught by it. In the beginning, this practice feels impossible. The thoughts come like waves, relentless and loud. Memories. Worries. Regrets. Desires. But slowly, breath by breath, you begin to notice the space between them. The gap. The silence. That moment when one thought ends and the next has not yet begun. And in that space, there is freedom. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that sees them. And the more you rest in that awareness, the more the storm begins to calm. How to stay calm and positive in a world that thrives on noise and urgency? By cultivating the courage to be still. To close your eyes not in escape, but in deep engagement. To listen not to more voices, but to the silence that has no voice. Silence is not passive. It is powerful. It is the field in which all things arise and dissolve. Even suffering. Even joy. Even you. There is a story of a Zen master who asked his student, "Can you hear the sound of one hand clapping?" The student struggled. Tried to reason. Tried to analyze. But the master only smiled and said, "The answer is not in thought. It is in the silence between." This is not a riddle. It is a pointing. A call to stop seeking with the mind what can only be known with the heart. You may be walking through grief. Through confusion. Through days where the noise inside is louder than anything outside. And you may ask, how do I find peace in chaos? The answer is not to remove the chaos. It is to stop identifying with it. To sit in the center of the storm and know, I am not the storm. I am the sky it dances within. This knowing is not belief. It is direct experience. And you do not need to travel far to find it. Just sit. Close your eyes. Watch the breath. Feel the body. Let the mind do what it will. And listen for the silence between. Protect your energy. Not by avoiding the world, but by returning to what is real. Thoughts will try to convince you of many things. That you are not enough. That you have failed. That something is missing. But the silence holds no such lies. In its vastness, there is only wholeness. Buddhist wisdom reminds us, everything that arises passes. Every thought. Every emotion. Every craving. Every fear. They are like clouds, appearing, drifting, dissolving. Do not cling to the cloud. Return to the sky. Buddhist lessons for anxiety begin not with advice, but with awareness. The next time your chest tightens, your thoughts spiral, your breath shortens, pause. Place a hand on your heart. Say silently, this is a moment of anxiety. I allow it. I observe it. And I am not it. In doing so, you step out of identification. You return to the silence. You protect your energy not by building walls, but by remembering who you are, the one who sees, not the thing seen. And when you feel lost, when the path disappears beneath your feet, Buddhist reminders are simple: breathe. Sit. Be still. You are not far from yourself. You are simply turned away. Turn back. Return. To this breath. This moment. This silence. You may think peace lies somewhere else. In a better future. In a different body. In a more perfect version of yourself. But the silence between thoughts holds a secret: you are already whole. You are not broken. You are not late. You are not less. You are here. You are aware. And that is enough. Even 1 second of stillness nourishes the soul more than hours of distraction. Even one breath of pure presence plants seeds that may bloom lifetimes from now. So begin where you are. Not when you're ready. Now. Sit beneath the tree of your own being. Let the leaves fall. Let the noise drift. Let thought come and go like wind through the branches. And stay with the space between. There is a place within you that nothing can touch. Not loss. Not praise. Not fear. It is the silence between thoughts. It is the Dharma unfolding in the stillness. It is the path home. And it is always here. Waiting. Quietly. For your return. Part 9, The Middle Way of Every Day. Between indulgence and denial, between chasing and retreating, between attachment and aversion, there lies a narrow path. It is not loud, it is not celebrated, and it is almost always overlooked. But it is the path the Buddha pointed to with unwavering clarity, the middle way. And while the term often evokes ancient images of monks walking through forests or sitting beneath trees, the truth is, the middle way is not a concept confined to the scriptures. It is a living, breathing presence in your everyday life, if you choose to notice. We are taught to seek extremes. More pleasure, more achievement, more success. Or on the other side, complete withdrawal, asceticism, self-punishment in the name of discipline. One side intoxicates. The other depletes. But both are rooted in imbalance. Both are chains, one golden, one rusted. Buddhist wisdom begins not with extremes, but with balance. The Buddha himself lived both. He was once a prince surrounded by luxury, and later, an ascetic starving himself in the woods. Neither brought awakening. It was only when he let go of both, sat beneath the Bodhi tree in the stillness between, that clarity bloomed. This is not just history. It is instruction. You do not need to flee your life to find peace. You do not need to give up your home, your work, your relationships. You only need to meet them with presence. With balance. With awareness. This is the middle way, not an escape from life, but a way of walking through it with your eyes open. In modern times, balance is more radical than ever. The world tells you to hustle harder, consume more, compare constantly. Or, on the other side, to reject it all, retreat into spiritual superiority, to look down upon the world as if the sacred cannot be found in the everyday. But the Buddha did not say the path was in wealth or in poverty. He said it was in wisdom. In discernment. In knowing how to walk in the world without being lost in it. So ask yourself gently, where am I clinging? Where am I resisting? Where am I avoiding? Where am I overindulging? These questions are not criticisms. They are doors. To live the middle way is to examine each step. Not with anxiety, but with care. Not with guilt, but with curiosity. And to adjust, as needed, with compassion. How to stay calm and positive in daily life is not a mystery. It is a result of alignment. When your values and your actions match, peace arises. When your mind and body are synchronized, energy is restored. When your thoughts and speech are honest, clarity returns. Every choice is an opportunity to walk the middle way. When anger arises, can you acknowledge it without acting it out? When desire stirs, can you observe it without blindly obeying it? When sadness visits, can you feel it without drowning in it? This is the middle way. You are not asked to deny yourself joy. Joy is sacred. But joy built on grasping will always fade. Joy rooted in mindfulness becomes a wellspring. Sustainable. Deep. Silent. To transform your mind, you must learn to live from the center. Not the center of indifference, but the center of intimacy, being close to all things without being consumed by them. Think of your mind as a pendulum. When it swings to pleasure, it often swings back to pain. When it clings to gain, it fears loss. But when it rests at center, it rests in truth. The middle way is not boring. It is not mediocre. It is not tepid. It is profound. Subtle. Dynamic. Like a dancer balancing between steps. Like a bird adjusting to wind currents. It requires attention. Flexibility. Grace. You might feel lost sometimes. Pulled by decisions, habits, emotions. Buddhist reminders when you feel lost are not commandments. They are gentle hands on your shoulder, guiding you back to the path already beneath you. You don't need to become someone else. You need only return to balance. Protect your energy by observing when you are being pulled too far in any direction. Too much giving, and you are drained. Too much taking, and you are isolated. Too much thinking, and you are disembodied. Too much doing, and you forget to be. In this awareness, you return. To the breath. To the body. To the silence. And from here, you recalibrate. Buddhist lessons for anxiety begin with this realignment. Anxiety often arises from imbalance, trying to control what is beyond your reach, trying to predict what cannot be known, trying to perform instead of simply being. When you return to center, anxiety softens. Not because life becomes easy, but because you are no longer fighting it from the edges. There is a practice in Buddhism known as the Eightfold Path, a map for living ethically and wisely. At its heart, it is about the middle. Right effort. right speech, right livelihood. Not rigid rules, not rigid morality, but intelligent balance. What is right is not defined by doctrine. It is defined by awareness. By seeing clearly what leads to peace, and what leads to suffering. This is not abstract. Right speech may mean choosing silence over gossip. Right action may mean resting instead of overworking. Right livelihood may mean doing work that honors your values, even if it earns less praise. The middle way threads through everything. When you eat, do you eat in awareness or in numbness? When you speak, do your words arise from compassion or from compulsion? When you sit in silence, do you listen, or do you wait for distraction? All of this is practice. Every act is part of the path. You do not need to carve out time to be spiritual. Your life is your temple. Your breath is your teacher. Even now, as you listen, as you feel the air on your skin, the tension in your jaw, the rhythm of your heartbeat, this is the moment of return. Return to the middle. Not back, not forward. Just here. Live without fear, not because life is safe, but because balance is your anchor. When you live in balance, fear may knock, but it will not move you. You are centered, rooted, aware. And in that awareness, there is joy. A joy not based on outcome, but on intimacy with life as it is. This joy is your birthright. But it cannot be grasped. It can only be received, moment by moment, when you live in the gentle space between too much and too little. This is where the Dharma lives. Not in extremes, but in the sacred in-between. You do not need to withdraw from the world to walk the path. You only need to walk it with care. In your home. In your work. In your sorrow. In your love. The middle way is not a line you walk. It is a presence you embody. So when you feel overwhelmed, pause. When you feel pulled, pause. When you feel disconnected, pause. And return. Return to the breath. Return to the body. Return to now. This is your refuge. This is your freedom. This is the middle way, walked not with grand gestures, but with small, sincere steps, each one a return to the place you never truly left. The center. The still point. The home within all things. Part 10, Seeing Clearly, Walking Gently. There is a moment in the early hours before the sun rises, when the world lies hushed beneath a veil of softness. In that moment, everything seems to pause, the wind, the noise, the hurried mind. And if one listens carefully, beyond the rustle of the trees, beyond even the rhythm of one's own breath, there is a quiet question that arises, without words, yet more intimate than thought. Can you see clearly, and still walk gently? This question lies at the heart of the Dharma. For Buddhist teachings are not merely philosophies to be understood, but invitations to live differently, to awaken to the truth of things, and to respond with tenderness. To see clearly is not to possess certainty. It is not the arrogant confidence of knowing all things. It is the humble, attentive gaze that pierces through delusion and rests in what is. It is the ability to observe without distortion, to see the impermanence of joy without clinging, to see the inevitability of pain without resisting, to see oneself without judgment, and to see others without projection. The Buddha called this vipassana, clear seeing. And in that clarity, something remarkable begins to unfold. The heart softens. The mind quiets. The breath deepens. Life, once chaotic and sharp, becomes transparent, fluid, less personal. Suffering is no longer a punishment, it is a messenger. Joy is no longer an achievement, it is a breeze. Thoughts lose their authority. Emotions lose their tyranny. And in their place, space opens. But clarity alone is not enough. There are those who see deeply, but become cold. Who understand emptiness but lose compassion. Who recognize impermanence and respond by withdrawing. The Dharma warns against this. It does not praise those who know but do not care. Wisdom without compassion is dry. Clarity without gentleness becomes another kind of delusion. To walk gently is to move through the world as one who remembers that every being is carrying something unseen. That every word can wound or heal. That each moment is someone's beginning or ending. Gentleness is not weakness. It is strength rooted in awareness. It is the middle way expressed not only in thought, but in behavior, in tone, in presence. You may ask, how can one see the truth of suffering in this world, the greed, the violence, the endless cycles of ignorance, and still walk gently? The answer lies in understanding the difference between reactivity and response. Reactivity is born from fear. It strikes, it clings, it retreats. But response arises from awareness. It listens. It breathes. It acts from a place beyond ego. The Buddha was not indifferent to suffering. He walked toward it. He did not speak with condemnation, but with clarity and kindness. His strength lay not in aggression, but in presence. He embodied the truth that you can hold the entire world in your gaze and still meet it with an open palm. To transform your mind is to transform your relationship with reality. It is not to control the mind by brute force, but to understand its movements, to untangle its illusions, to cradle its fears, and to guide it with patience. Thoughts will come, old beliefs, stories, habits. Some are echoes from childhood. Some are inherited from generations. Some are fantasies dressed as truth. The practice is not to silence them, but to see them clearly, like watching leaves drift along a river. You do not jump in after them. You do not curse them. You simply watch. And in that watching, you begin to reclaim your mind. This is how you begin to find peace in chaos. Not by silencing the world, but by removing the hooks of your mind from its noise. Not by avoiding conflict, but by responding from stillness. Not by seeking control, but by returning to presence. This clarity is a slow unfolding. It does not arrive in flashes of enlightenment. It comes in small shifts, a breath caught before a reaction, a kind word where once there would be impatience, a pause where once there was rushing. It is the practice of choosing awareness again and again. In the silence of the morning, when the mind is not yet burdened with the day's stories, practice watching your breath. Not to control it, but to accompany it. Feel how it enters, how it leaves. Let your body soften. Let your thoughts rise and fall without interference. In this simple act, you are cultivating clarity. And as clarity deepens, so does your gentleness. You speak slower. You listen more. You no longer rush to fill silences. You no longer mistake emotion for truth. You begin to see the suffering in others, not as a threat, but as a shared condition. The need to defend yourself begins to dissolve. The need to impress begins to fade. The need to be right begins to lose its appeal. You start to live from the quiet center of being. Live without fear, not because you have armored yourself, but because you have emptied yourself of resistance. Fear thrives in the unknown. But when you see clearly, you understand, the unknown is not your enemy. It is the field in which all transformation is possible. When anxiety visits, and it will, do not fight it. Invite it to sit with you. Observe its shape. Trace its origin. Speak to it as you would a child, "You are welcome here. But you do not command me." Buddhist lessons for anxiety are not about suppression. They are about space. Anxiety shrinks in the spaciousness of awareness. It feeds on confusion. It weakens in clarity. To protect your energy, practice noticing when you are leaking it. Each time you argue with what is, you lose energy. Each time you replay old wounds, you lose energy. Each time you reach outward for validation, you lose energy. Bring it back. Return to yourself. To the breath. To the moment. To the silence beneath the thought. And from this rootedness, act. From this stillness, speak. From this clarity, walk. Walk gently. Speak gently. Live gently. Not because life is always gentle with you, but because the world does not need more sharpness. It needs more light. More warmth. More understanding. Buddhist reminders: when you feel lost, do not shout. They whisper. They say, "Stop. Breathe. Come back. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not behind. You are beginning again. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who sees them. And in seeing, you are already free. So let each day be your path. Let each moment be your teacher. Let each breath be your return. You do not need to reach the mountaintop to live wisely. You only need to walk gently, and see clearly, right where you are. If this space has brought peace into your heart, let it ripple outward. Subscribe to this path of quiet unfolding. Like these words, not for the algorithm, but for the soul. Share them not to be seen, but to help another remember. This is Daily Dharma Listening, a place not of answers, but of sacred questions, asked slowly, in the company of truth. And always, always, walked gently. Part 11, The Empty Bowl and the Full Heart. There is an image, quiet yet enduring, that has been passed down through centuries of Buddhist teaching: a monk walking at dawn, barefoot, with a simple clay bowl held gently in both hands. He carries no food, no money, no agenda. Just an empty bowl. And yet, in that emptiness, there is no poverty. There is only space, space for whatever life will place into it. Space for nourishment. Space for giving. Space for humility. In this image lies a profound lesson. The bowl is our mind, and life, in all its unpredictable beauty and sorrow, is what fills it. Some mornings, sweet rice is offered. Other days, nothing. But the monk walks on, unmoved, open, trusting. Because it is not the content of the bowl that defines the walk, it is the heart that carries it. This is the practice, to live as the empty bowl. We live in a world that constantly pushes us to be full, of knowledge, of possessions, of opinions, of identities. We fill ourselves with endless streams of information, clutter our minds with expectations, compare, accumulate, strive, exhaust. We become heavy with content, yet hollow in presence. We speak of freedom but fear stillness. We long for peace, but chase stimulation. But Buddhist wisdom teaches another way. A quieter, subtler way. It does not glorify the full, it reveres the empty. Because only the empty bowl can be filled. Only the empty mind can listen. Only the open heart can receive. To empty does not mean to lose. It means to make room. To live without fear, we must stop clinging to what fills us with weight but not with meaning. The opinions of others. The illusion of control. The compulsion to be constantly certain. These things masquerade as security but are prisons made of glass. True freedom begins when we gently, one breath at a time, begin to empty. There is a story from Zen tradition. A scholar once visited a master to inquire about enlightenment. The master welcomed him and poured him tea. The scholar spoke at length of his understanding, his years of study, his conclusions. All the while, the master kept pouring. The tea overflowed, spilling across the table. The scholar cried, "The cup is full. No more will go in." The master smiled and said, "Like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you the way unless you first empty your cup?" This is not a call to ignorance. It is a call to humility. A call to begin again. Not with answers, but with sincere curiosity. Not with control, but with reverence for the unknown. Buddhism for beginners is not about learning new beliefs. It is about unlearning old patterns. It is about seeing through the noise to what is essential. And often, that clarity comes not from adding, but subtracting. Try this: the next time you are overwhelmed, do not reach for more. Do not try to solve or explain or improve. Instead, sit. Feel your breath. Imagine your mind as the bowl. Ask yourself, what can I release in this moment? Perhaps it is a thought you've carried too long. A resentment that has fossilized. A fear that no longer serves. A role you no longer need to play. Empty it. Gently. Lovingly. And wait. Because in the emptiness, life will return. The sun will rise. The breath will settle. And the truth will whisper again. This is how we begin to transform the mind, not by adding, but by letting go. This is how we begin to protect our energy, not by guarding, but by clearing. You are not asked to have the answers. You are asked to remain open. An empty bowl does not demand. It does not resist. It does not cling. It simply offers itself. And in that offering, something profound occurs, life flows to it. How to stay calm and positive? By becoming spacious. By not reacting to every story the mind creates. By observing your thoughts like clouds and remembering, I am not this weather. I am the sky. And in that spaciousness, positivity is not forced. It arises naturally, like a flower blooming in a cleared field. When you feel lost, and all of us do not search outward. Instead, ask, what have I filled myself with that is not me? Perhaps the path is not hidden. Perhaps it is simply buried beneath what no longer belongs. Return to simplicity. A breath. A moment. A gentle gaze. The practice of mindfulness is not to become better, but to become lighter. To carry your bowl with presence, and let life fill it as it will. Buddhist reminders when you feel lost are not loud. They are quiet footprints in the dew. They guide you not with urgency, but with patience. They say, you are not what you've done. You are not what you fear. You are not even who you think you are. You are the space in which all of this arises. Imagine walking through your day with this awareness. Every meeting, every errand, every silence, approached not with agenda, but with openness. Every interaction, not a transaction, but an encounter. Every emotion, not a threat, but a teacher. This is the power of the empty bowl. It does not push away what is painful. It allows it to be seen, to be felt, and to pass. It does not cling to what is sweet. It receives it fully, then releases it. It walks through the world as a vessel, not of accumulation, but of grace. There is a kind of joy that arises when you no longer need to hold everything together. When you no longer need to explain yourself. When you no longer need to be anyone but this, breathing, aware, alive. That joy is not the result of success. It is the result of spaciousness. When anxiety arises, feel it. Let it move through. But do not become it. Remind yourself, this is a passing wind. I am the sky. And return. Return to the breath. Return to the moment. Return to the bowl. There is peace not in the absence of thoughts, but in not attaching to them. There is stillness not in the absence of motion, but in not being moved by every wave. There is freedom not in having all, but in needing little. And in needing little, we discover we already have more than enough. Let your practice be simple. Let your life be a bowl, carried gently, offered humbly, emptied regularly. And in that space, let a full heart rise. Because it is not the bowl that needs to be filled. It is the presence with which we carry it that transforms everything. This is the quiet path of the Dharma. Not a path of answers, but of attention. Not a path of acquisition, but of release. Not a path of perfection, but of presence. So breathe. Walk slowly. Speak softly. Empty your bowl. And let your heart, vast, luminous, already awake, carry the world gently in return. Part 12. The wind returns to the mountain. There comes a moment, perhaps not loud, perhaps not marked by any grand sign, when something inside you grows quiet. Not the quiet of resignation. Not the silence of defeat. But a deeper stillness, like wind returning to the mountain from which it came. It is the soft knowing that you have wandered long enough, asked enough, searched enough, and now, it is time to be. All the teachings, all the scriptures, all the teachers, they were never meant to lead you somewhere else. They were meant to point you back to this moment, to this breath, to this inner home you never truly left. The Dharma was never far. It was always the way the sunlight warmed your skin on a cold morning. The way your breath softened when you stopped rushing. The way your heart broke open not from fear, but from finally telling the truth to yourself. To walk the path is not to arrive at a distant peak. It is to realize the mountain is already beneath your feet. Every step has been part of it. Every detour. Every fall. Every return. The Buddha did not offer enlightenment as a goal. He offered it as a recognition of what has always been. Of the clear sky behind the clouds. Of the quiet presence that remains even when the world moves and shakes. Of the still point in the center of all things. In these last moments of our reflection, let us return, not to a destination, but to a presence. Let us look back, not to measure how far we've come, but to bow in gratitude to all that has shaped us. The suffering. The joy. The not knowing. The wisdom disguised as difficulty. The clarity that only comes after the storm. What does it mean to live the Dharma, truly? It means to meet each moment with the heart of a monk carrying an empty bowl. It means to listen to the world with ears unburdened by assumptions. It means to pause before you react, breathe before you speak, observe before you judge. It means to feel pain and not let it harden you. To feel joy and not cling to it. To sit with your own mind and not be frightened by its storms. To walk with others and not lose yourself in the crowd. To live without fear, not because nothing can harm you, but because you no longer run from life's truth. To protect your energy, not by closing the door, but by learning who and what you let into the sacred space of your attention. To transform your mind, not by decorating it with new beliefs, but by clearing the dust, polishing the mirror, returning to what is already clear. To find peace in chaos, not by controlling the world, but by rooting deeply in the awareness that witnesses it all. To stay calm and positive, not by pretending everything is fine, but by understanding that even this pain, even this confusion, is part of the unfolding. To remember, again and again, that you are not the wave, you are the ocean. You are not the story, you are the space it arises in. You are not the thought, you are the awareness that sees it come and go. And in this recognition, life becomes lighter. The heart opens, not because it is unbroken, but because it has learned how to break with grace. There will still be moments when you forget. There will still be days when the noise grows louder than your breath. But now you know the way back. Now you know how to return. Return to the mountain. Return to the breath. Return to the silence between thoughts. Return to the simplicity of being. There is nothing more to become. There is only this living truth, this unfolding presence, this deep, still Dharma that holds you in its wide, patient arms. And when you forget, when you fall, when you lose the thread, remember, the mountain does not leave because the wind has wandered. It waits. It receives. It welcomes you back with no judgment. Only space. Only stillness. Only love. This is the end of a chapter, not of the path. The path continues, in your next breath, in your next act of kindness, in your next return to presence. May you carry this wisdom not as burden, but as blessing. May your life become the teaching. May your silence speak the truth. And may your heart, vast and empty and full all at once, become a refuge for others who are still wandering. This is the wind, returning to the mountain. This is the bowl, empty and open. This is the Dharma, alive in you. And this is home.